Very disturbing to hear these things or to kind of see some of the receipts that appear to be connected to it. And
Stay tuned, because we're about to dive into the utter chaos that is Dalton, Illinois, and its so-called super mayor, Tiffany Henyard. This woman has turned into a walking, talking reality TV disaster, and it's all happening right in front of our eyes. Henyard's campaign for re-election? Yeah, it's hardly about engaging with voters or focusing on the issues that actually matter. Instead, she's been busy handing out thousands of turkeys for Thanksgiving. A clear PR stunt so blatant, it's almost comical. But here's the kicker. This isn't funny when you're a resident of Dalton, watching your hard-earned tax dollars disappear while the mayor plays Santa Claus. It's become painfully obvious. Henyard's leadership isn't just a political train wreck. It's a full-on political thriller. Just not the kind she'd want you to think. After winning her first term by a landslide, her tenure has quickly spiraled into chaos beyond anyone's wildest expectations. Her support? It's dropped to an all-time low, down to just 3%. And it's no wonder. Take a look at what happened recently during a massive blizzard. Henyard's response to the snow removal crisis? Absolutely disastrous. While Dalton was buried under feet of snow, businesses were forced to shut down, and residents were stranded. Meanwhile, Henyard? She's posting selfies on social media, blaming the weather for her complete failure to act. For days, the town was paralyzed by snow. And what was the mayor doing? Let's just say her efforts didn't exactly solve the problem. But wait, this is just one of the many disasters plaguing her administration. Here's another. Henyard holds not one, but two political jobs. That's right, she's collecting paychecks from two public entities, both as mayor of Dalton and as a public official in South suburban Cook County. She's been traveling around, making hollow promises, trying to win favor with local churches while her town continues to spiral into dysfunction. Residents are furious, businesses are struggling, and trust in Henyard? Well, it's completely evaporated. One local even compared her to a South American dictator, pointing out that her face is plastered everywhere in town, just like the notorious Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela. But it gets worse. A preliminary analysis by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot has uncovered shocking financial mismanagement within Henyard's administration. According to Lightfoot's report, Henyard used village credit cards for personal purchases at Amazon, Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair, racking up a bill that raises major red flags. In total, the village is missing over $3.6 million.
funds, I think that's the biggest.
The situation in Dalton continues to unfold. And what's even more alarming is that federal authorities are now actively investigating the town, especially focusing on Tiffany Henyard's administration. Federal agencies have started requesting bank data and other critical information, raising the stakes for Henyard. This isn't just about a re-election campaign anymore. No, it's a desperate attempt to keep herself out of prison. If these investigations uncover criminal behavior, the consequences could be severe. Federal investigations can take anywhere from a couple of months to several years. But for Henyard, this timeline could mark the end of her political career, and possibly much more. Henyard's leadership style? It's been nothing short of disastrous. Her financial mismanagement, coupled with the looming presence of federal authorities, highlights the instability that's become a trademark of her time in office. And let's not even get started on her infamous temper and the tense, hostile interactions she's had with both the board and the residents. One of the strangest episodes occurred during a town council meeting where Henyard dressed up as Nino Brown, the infamous drug kingpin from the movie New Jack City. To make things even more bizarre, she had a DJ play Rant on Be Better, "Rave my money" as part of the spectacle. This impulsive, erratic behavior has left the community bewildered and disheartened. Her unpredictable attitude toward governance and her utter disregard for basic professionalism have only fueled the dysfunction within the town. Local businesses? They've felt the brunt of Henyard's erratic actions. Many report struggling to obtain essential permits and licenses under her administration. Take Lawrence Gardner, a trucking firm owner, for example. He claims Henyard shut down his business after he refused to make substantial contributions to her campaign. Unfortunately, this story is far from unique. Other residents have shared similar experiences of harassment, intimidation, and retaliation from Henyard and her supporters. As a result, Dalton's economic growth has slowed to a crawl, with many businesses and residents leaving the area in search of better opportunities. What was once a thriving community has now become a shell of its former self. People are left asking, can Dalton ever recover under Henyard's leadership, town council meetings? They've become increasingly chaotic, often ending early because key trustees, like Chris Gonzalez and Carmen Carlisle, don't even show up. When meetings do happen, residents flood the halls, frustrated and angry, demanding answers. The people of Dalton are losing patience with Henyard, and it's clear why. Her inability to manage the town effectively, combined with her penchant for drama and extravagance, has pushed the community to its breaking point. Local businesses and residents have repeatedly voiced their dissatisfaction, and many have gone as far as calling her tenure a disgrace, questioning why she hasn't stepped down already. One resident expressed their frustration, pointing out that Henyard's refusal to listen to reason has only worsened the problems plaguing the town. Her inability to govern responsibly and her blatant disregard for the community's needs have made her one of America's most notorious mayors. The poor controversies surrounding her leadership extend far beyond her personal struggles. The entire village is paying the price for her incompetence. Tensions between Henyard and the Board of Trustees are reaching a boiling point. Trustees have accused her of financial mismanagement and overstepping her authority. The situation has gotten so heated that board meetings have had to be moved to larger venues just to accommodate the growing number of residents showing up to voice their concerns. These heated exchanges have become a regular feature of life in Dalton, underscoring the fractured relationship between Henyard and the community she was elected to serve. The tension between Mayor Tiffany Henyard and her constituents is reaching a boiling point. Residents are increasingly wondering how much longer this kind of mismanagement can persist before the town of Dalton finally reaches its breaking point. "We just want responsible leadership and communication, something that benefits the city," one concerned resident said. But instead of delivering the leadership Dalton desperately needs, Henyard continues to make headlines for all the wrong reasons. Take, for example, her attempt to appoint a new police chief. This sparked fierce opposition from the trustees. But the controversy doesn't stop there. Legal blows are continuing to stack up against her. A Cook County court has already overturned several of Henyard's key appointments, including that of Michael Smith as executive assistant and special counsel, declaring them invalid. These legal setbacks, combined with the growing rift between Henyard and the trustees, are a glaring sign of the dysfunction eating away at her administration. And as if things couldn't get worse, Henyard's personal life has also become a source of controversy, adding a bitter layer of irony to her already tumultuous public tenure. Her landlord has filed a lawsuit against her for unpaid rent, accusing the mayor of failing to pay thousands of dollars. This financial debacle contrasts sharply with Henyard's history of mismanaging taxpayer funds. It's almost unbelievable that someone who can't even manage her own finances has been entrusted with overseeing the entire town's budget. Henyard's personal financial issues expose a deeper level of incompetence in governance. as she continues to spend public money irresponsibly, neglecting her own financial obligations. It's clear that this dysfunction is not just a personal failing. It's systemic. Henyard, once seen as a leader who would bring change, has instead demonstrated a pattern of arrogance and unchecked authority. Her actions, such as throwing lavish parties funded by taxpayer dollars, serve as a stark reminder of her failure to prioritize the needs of the town over her own desires. One such party, reportedly costing $85,000, featured rapper Jay Holiday and R&B singer K. Michelle, while the community remains buried under debt. Henyard's use of her position to further her own interests, often ignoring the concerns of residents who rely on her to act in their best interest, has led to legal battles, public scandals, and a pattern of financial mismanagement that has deeply damaged her credibility. These are not isolated incidents. They are a clear pattern of behavior that has undermined Henyard's ability to lead effectively. Her failure to listen to residents, her blatant disregard for accountability, and her tendency to self-promote at the expense of the community have left Dalton's residents feeling helpless and betrayed. Henyard's desperate attempts to cling to power, despite overwhelming legal challenges and public outrage, suggest her re-election campaign isn't about serving the people of Dalton, it's about keeping herself out of jail. As legal challenges continue to mount, Henyard's leadership is beginning to unravel. The urgent need for accountability and responsible governance has never been more apparent. The question now is whether the residents of Dalton, along with the rest of the political establishment, will take the necessary steps to remove Henyard from office before she causes any more harm. Her leadership has been marked by incompetence, scandal, and blatant abuse of power. Her inability to fulfill even basic financial obligations, both personally and as mayor, has created the perfect storm of incompetence. This is rapidly deteriorating her relationship with the very people she was supposed to serve. Henyard's tenure has become a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of holding elected officials accountable. With each passing day, her credibility continues to erode, and the community is left to pick up the pieces. If Henyard is truly interested in serving the people of Dalton, she must focus on repairing the damage she has done, take responsibility for her actions, and step away from the constant drama and self-preservation. However, at this point, it seems her desperate grasp on power may only deepen the divide and worsen the already precarious situation. It's clear that Dalton deserves better, a leader who can manage the town's finances responsibly, listen to the concerns of the community, and foster an environment of accountability and trust. The residents of Dalton have suffered long enough under Henyard's administration. As the legal and political fallout continues to mount, the people of Dalton must ask themselves, how much longer can they afford to wait for change? How much longer will they tolerate the chaos and dysfunction that have defined Tiffany Henyard's time in office? The lack of oversight in Dalton is an issue that stretches far beyond the town's borders. It's a glaring example of a broken political system, one where corruption and dysfunction seem to go unchecked. It's hard to fathom why a town like Dalton, which has been drowning in controversy and scandal for years, has yet to receive any significant intervention from state or federal authorities. The fact that Tiffany Henyard's financial mismanagement, legal battles, and catastrophic governance have continued without real action from higher powers only deepens the public's distrust in the political system. The lack of intervention raises serious concerns about the very effectiveness of the checks and balances that are supposed to safeguard against mismanagement. It's as though no one has bothered to step in and address the growing concerns surrounding Henyard's leadership, further fueling the disillusionment and anger felt by Dalton's residents. The absence of accountability has eroded the community's faith in their elected officials, leaving the very foundation of governance in question. But it doesn't stop there. Just a few miles away in nearby Thornton Township, another significant issue has emerged that has only added fuel to the fire of frustration. A major local business, which could have provided a much-needed boost to the area, has hit a roadblock, not due to factors like weather or logistics, but because two trustees are refusing to do their job and move the process forward. This paints a troubling picture of political gridlock, with leadership so mired in personal agendas or incompetence that it can't even take the necessary steps to help the town progress. This failure to act on behalf of the community highlights a larger issue within Dalton, where petty political games and self-interest seem to take precedence over the needs of the people. Residents already dealing with countless challenges are left powerless as local leadership fails to unite and make decisions that benefit them. This is no longer just about bad governance. It's a symptom of a larger political culture that values personal power over the collective good, neglecting the very constituents they were elected to serve. The dysfunction in Dalton isn't just confined to the board or the mayor's office, it's systemic. With decisions delayed, obstructed, or ignored, residents are left wondering whether their town will ever break free from this endless cycle of corruption and incompetence. The situation underscores a critical need for true leadership. Leaders who prioritize the needs of the community above their personal interests and are capable of making the tough decisions necessary to move Dalton forward. Unfortunately, under Henyard's leadership, that kind of leadership is nowhere to be found. The mounting public dissatisfaction with Henyard's administration, paired with the failure of leadership to address critical issues, has severely undermined trust in local government. From her mismanagement of funds to the endless legal disputes, Dalton is on the brink of collapse. The people have spoken loud and clear. They are ready for change. But the question remains, will that change come in time to undo the damage done? The larger issue now is whether the political system in Dalton will ever transform to ensure better oversight and accountability, or whether the town will continue to spiral deeper into dysfunction, stuck in a cycle of ineptitude. As the next election draws closer, the stakes for Dalton's future have never been higher. Henyard's grip on power is becoming increasingly desperate. What was once seen as a hopeful re-election campaign now looks more like a last-ditch effort to avoid the inevitable consequences of her disastrous tenure. With each passing day, Henyard's political future seems more precarious. Her administration has been defined by scandals, legal battles, and a string of failures that have left the community frustrated and disillusioned. From the FBI investigation into her administration to the public outrage over her mishandling of funds, her tenure has become a case study in political mismanagement. It's not just the residents of Dalton calling for change anymore. Henyard's own political allies are distancing themselves as evidence of her incompetence continues to mount. The question now isn't whether she will continue holding office, but whether she can somehow pull off the unthinkable and secure re-election despite overwhelming opposition. Her campaign for re-election now seems less about serving the people and more about holding on to power by any means necessary. Whether it's through extravagant PR stunts or desperate political maneuvering, nothing seems to be working in her favor. The tipping point is fast approaching, and the people of Dalton are no longer willing to accept the status quo. They've had enough of the scandals, the broken promises, and the legal battles that have defined Henyard's time in office. At this point, Henyard's political downfall seems inevitable. The mounting frustration from the community, combined with growing legal pressure and continued public outrage, makes it increasingly unlikely that she will be able to weather the storm. Even if she somehow manages to secure another term, the damage to her reputation and the public's trust in her leadership may be irreparable. The question now isn't if Henyard's time in office will end, But when? The people of Dalton have made it abundantly clear. They are ready for change. They are tired of the incompetence, the corruption, and the endless cycle of mismanagement that has come to define Henyard's tenure. Whether Henyard can secure re-election, or whether the mounting pressure from the public and the ongoing FBI investigation will ultimately bring her down, remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. The people of Dalton have spoken, and they want change. They are no longer willing to tolerate the dysfunction and the scandals that have plagued their town under Henyard's leadership. As the next election draws nearer, the future of Dalton hangs in the balance. Will the residents rise up and demand the change they so desperately need? Or will they continue to be stuck in this unrelenting cycle of scandal and mismanagement? Only time will tell. But with growing dissatisfaction and the ever-mounting pressure from both the public and the FBI investigation, it's clear. Change isn't just needed, it's inevitable.